When I tell you, I kept my friends on their toes with this Facebook dating story, with any Facebook dating story. Like, it never ends well. But this one had me ready to, like, fight all the men in the world. I'm not gonna lie. Story time on Who Did I Go Out With? Facebook edition. So, I used Facebook dating for funsies because I always have funny stories when I come back to my friends. Because the first man I talked to, atheist, your choice, whatever, that's fine. Second one, man hated traveling. Like, he had a burning passion as to why he hated it. And I was like, that's crazy that you're passionate about this, but go off. Third one, I don't even have words for this man. And the update I just saw was crazy, but I'm gonna give y'all the story time real quick. So me and Mr. Man's match, he starts the conversation. We start chit-chatting on the app for a few days. And then he's like, oh, let me get your number. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I give him my number and we start texting. It's great. And then we FaceTime like a week later, which I don't know if that's fast or not. I can't really tell because I didn't FaceTime my ex last time the first week of talking, but that's another story. So then we're talking, chit-chatting. Okay, for one, red flag number one, he was out of state. He's from Virginia. Red flag number two, he works for the Navy. If you know, you know. Red flag number three, we'll get to that. So we start talking about like actually going out on the date. Like he's very much leading to that question of asking me out. And I say yes. And of course he's out of state. So I'm like, shh, not right now. Vuki, go find something else to do. I'm like, you're not coming here. I'm not going to anywhere you're staying. So what are we going to do? And he's like, oh no, we'll just do dinner or something. Like I'll plan a date for the day, which he did. He like had a whole little thing set. So like I knew what we were doing. So it is Thursday. He's coming. Sunday was the original plan. He knew I was getting my hair done Saturday. And I was like, I can't do anything Saturday morning. I should have never said that. That was my first mistake. So then it's like Thursday evening, or maybe it's Friday. No, it's Friday evening. And I'm texting him, hey, drive here safely, blah, blah, blah. He's like, oh, actually, I'm already here. What? I was like, oh, that's not cool. I don't know. So then, Saturday I'm getting my hair done in the morning, and then we meet up for dinner we meet up before dinner on Saturday. And he brings me flowers, very respectful, like give him a hug. Cause I was like, okay, I don't know, we was vibing. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna give you a hug and that's all you're gonna get. That's it. This is gonna have to be part 2, but we go to a bar beforehand, just to chit chat. Cause dinner isn't until 7. So you know what? Go to part 2. Part 2 of Who Did I Go Out With? So we're in the booth. We're talking. We're just still getting to, we're just asking each other questions, just talking about things. And he's like, I need to ask you something. Or he was like, I need to tell you something. And he was like, just because, I know. And he was like, I just feel like I can ask this and it's fine. And I'm like, oh, Lord, what you about to ask me? You already know what he about to ask me. He was like, so do you want to be my girlfriend? He was like, you can say no. And I'm literally just sitting there because I'm like, where's the cameras? Are you serious right now? And I literally said, are you serious? He was like, why wouldn't I be serious? And I'm like, because we just met. Huh? So then I'm like, I'm going to say no. And he was like, that's cool. That's cool. And I'm like, because we just met and it's literally the first date. I said, it's interesting. I was like, I'm going to say no. So he gets up and he uses the bathroom. And I feel like he was trying to find his pride because gone. Or his confidence, because it probably I'm literally just sitting there while he's in the bathroom oh my goodness, what? But we're too deep in, so we go on the date. We go to dinner. We drive separately. We're in separate cars. We get to the restaurant, dinner. He has his watch set incorrectly, so we're an hour early. So then we sit in his car, which I got scolded for, which understandable. And we're literally just chit-chatting because, for one, I was out in Raleigh, and Glenwood was active that night because there was a fight literally right behind us at 6:30. I'm like, is it really that? Anyway, not part of the story. We're in the car just talking, and then we go to dinner. Like, it was fine. It was nothing weird. Like, we're talking about music. We're talking about TV shows, all those things. We get to dinner, and, we're enjoying our meals. We're chit-chatting, and then he's telling the server, like, oh, I'm trying to get her to fall in love with me. And I'm like, and I'm like, girl, he's being very serious. Like, 911 if you need to. So then we finish out the night, like, at a bar, and we're just chit-chatting, and, like, things are just, it's just, like, I don't know. I had, like, so many mixed feelings. So then he was here, like, he was staying at a hotel, but he was staying until Sunday. So I go back home, and then we meet up again on Sunday after I talked to friends about, what was said, because it was crazy. He was like, my bad. And he was like, I shouldn't have said that. He was like, I didn't want to, he was like, I just feel really bad, blah, blah, blah. Because, like, I don't know, like, I kind of pulled away because I was like, this is weird. Like, that's way too fast. And I was like, I just met you. I was like, it's been not that long. Like, Savannah, slow down, please. Actually, I'm going to make this last part a part 3 because I feel like this just deserves its own, like, whole thing. So come back for that because it's good. Part 3 of who did I go out with? And I'm going to just get to the crazy part and work backwards from that. So it's Monday night. We just finished dinner. We're about to leave, or I'm about to leave. Well, we're both about to leave. And he was like, I need to tell you something. And I'm like, Lord Jesus, not again, not again. And of course, you could guess what this man says to me. He goes, I love you. I said nothing. He's like, you don't have to say anything. I was like, I'm not going to say anything. I get in my car, drive, call my friend. We got to block this man. Cilantro. If my friend Jaden watches this, if you know, you know. So let me walk you through this. We're at dinner. We're chit-chatting. We're having a serious conversation. I don't know why we're having such serious conversations right now. Like, we should just be getting to know each other and see if this could maybe move to somewhere. But we're having very serious conversations. And I'm like, this is a lot. And I don't know, like, I feel like you're already not going to respect my boundaries. You're kind of not, in a sense. So in my head, I was kind of over it. But, like, I'm with this man now. We're talking about this at dinner. But in my head, I'm like, I'm not seeing you again after this. Like, I can't. Sorry. Well, actually, no, we don't say sorry for that because we love boundaries. But it was just after dinner. He's like, I need to tell you something. He's like, but you don't need to say anything. He said, got in my car, skirted home, sent in the group chat, cilantro, like, we gotta block this man. It's that serious. Honestly, I'm gonna include the text message that I sent him because I ended this over text because I'm like, this doesn't even need a phone call, like, no need. But the message was interesting. To say, Michaela, I think you're making a big mistake. No, I don't think I am. Like, looking back on it, because again, I feel like my system had to, like, that was, like, the craziest roller coaster of emotions that I had felt in, like, the longest time. And it was not good. Like, that was terrible. That was horrible. But, like, already this man was causing me so much anxiety. And I'm like, you're not even my boyfriend. You're just a man that I met. Like, that's crazy. But yeah, he, like, called me, like, 3 times after I sent that message. He left me a voicemail, and then he sent me those texts. And yeah, I had to block him on every single thing because I was like, that was crazy. Like, what's going on? But here's the real kicker, y'all. Because he's like, oh, like, I could really see this going somewhere. Like, I see you in my future family. This is stuff in the text message because there was more after that. And then, get this. He's already got a new girlfriend. So make sure y'all stay off of Facebook dating.
I'm not the greatest at storytelling, so just bear with me. Also, I might get some things wrong because it's been, I don't know, a few months since it happened. September 11th, okay? That night, my daughter was saying some concerning things about an imaginary friend that she had. She's had imaginary friends since 2023, I think, and they were all girls. And then all of a sudden, she developed a boy imaginary friend, and she would always say things like he was being mean to her or whatever. She would never say anything like what she said the night that she told me who was sexually abusing her. So I would always wonder why she would be saying these things about that certain imaginary friend, and so I would tell her hey, just don't play with him or anything anymore. And so the thing that made me concerned was she told me that imaginary friend was showing her pictures of female body parts on her imaginary phone. She showed me an imaginary phone and said that he was showing her these pictures. And so I was like, well, is your imaginary friend real? Is it somebody you can see, or is it somebody that everybody can see? She told me that he wasn't real, and I just didn't believe that, so I kept asking her, and she still just said he wasn't real. So I asked her, I was like, okay, did something happen for you to be saying that? Did somebody actually show you these pictures? No, okay. My dad previously told me that she wanted to play these weird games, and so I brought that up. And so she told me that it was her dad that taught her to play those games, and that's why she wanted to play them whenever she would come to my parents' house. And then too, before that, she would, whenever she would play with her dolls or whatever, she would say, oh, come over to my house, but don't tell mama what we're doing. And it would never be because she would call her dad Papa. It would never be don't tell mama and Papa. It would always just be don't tell mama. And my dad noticed it too, and he brought it up to me whenever we were all over here. And then he was whispering it to me whenever my husband went to the bathroom. And then my husband came back, and I saw him walking in, and I started talking regularly just so that he wouldn't be, suspicious of what was going on and why are you guys whispering? And he didn't say anything whenever we were talking about it in front of him. He just sat there quietly and with his head down and everything, and I found that weird. So we had already suspected what was going on for a while, but I never got confirmation of it until September 11th, that night, whenever my daughter told me exactly who it was, and that's what I had been waiting on. Because she, for the longest time, denied anything was going on. I just thought, I assumed just from her actions and, what she would do and the way that she would play. So, yeah. And then, anyways, that night that I found out, she asked me not to tell him, but I couldn't just sit with it and not ask him about it. So I asked him about it, and his pupils dilated super huge. It looked like he had taken drugs or something like that. His pupils were huge. And he would always lie to me about cheating and everything, and so I knew the face that he would make when he lied, and he made that exact face saying, no, that's not true, blah, blah, blah. And so he called her in there, and he asked her about it. Well, before I even went in there, I think he was listening to the whole conversation, because the house that we were in had no bedroom doors for the bedrooms. There was no doors at all, except for the bathroom door. And so whenever I went in there, he was scrolling through YouTube shorts on his phone, and I could just tell he knew what was going on, because he did this thing whenever he was mad at me where he would pretend I wasn't there, or I really don't know how to explain it, but he was doing that whenever I walked in. And so I was the one that brought it up. He didn't ask me about it, because I told him before I went to go talk to my daughter privately that I might have found out who this imaginary friend is, because I told him before that I suspected it was a real person because of the way that she would talk about him. And so whenever I came back in the room, he didn't look at me, he didn't say anything. He wasn't like, oh, did you find out who, blah, blah, blah. No, I was the one that brought it up and started the conversation. And so then he asked me who it was, and I told him, I was like, she told me it was you. And then that's whenever he gave me the reaction that he did, and he was extremely pissed off, like he was angry. And so then he called her in, and he was talking to her, and he was like, oh, I could go to jail, and you shouldn't lie about these things, and blah blah blah. And she looked him dead in the face and said, because he asked her, he was like, who has been doing these things to you? And she said, you have been, Papa, you've been doing that to me. And so he was like, oh, that's not true, and why would you lie about something like that, and whatever. And so that night that we went to sleep, he like wasn't touching me at all, and he didn't talk to me the rest of the night. He was looking things up on his phone, and I was asking him, like, what are you Googling? What are you looking up? Oh, I'm not looking at anything, and why, blah, blah, blah. He was fucking heated. And so, then the next morning, he woke up and he was still pissed off, and I was talking to my daughter in the morning, and she told me she lied about it, and I was like, okay, because I had done research again that night. I had done research, and it said from ages 2 to 9, children will not lie about these things. Like, they don't make these things up about people. It's true most of the time, 80 to 90% of the time. And so I kept that in the back of my head. He got pissed off. He went to her room, and she tried to go in there to play with her toys, and he was like, get out of here. I'm done with you and your mom. And he was just yelling at her, telling her to get out of there, cussing at her. I told her to come here. I was like, just leave him be. And then I went in there, and I was like, why are you telling her to get out of her own room? Like, just come in here, and I'll come and sit in here with her. But no, he told me to leave him alone. So I was like, okay. And then my daughter started packing up her own clothes. She kept going back in there and talking all kinds of shit to him. And every time she would come back in, I would just be like, just leave him alone, just leave him alone. Like, it doesn't pay, because I know how he is. And every time he would get mad, he'd like throw things or break TVs, whatever. So we left. I called my parents and I told them what was going on. And then like 30 minutes down the road, he texted me and he was like, hey, I want to talk, and whatever. So I turn around, which I probably shouldn't have. I turn around, I go back, I leave the kids in the car, and I leave the car running. I go inside to talk to him, and he's like, where are the kids? I was like, they're in the car. And so he asked me to go get them, and I was like, I thought you just wanted to talk to me. Anyway, I got the kids out the car, and he was talking to her, and he was like, if you lie about something like this again, I will whoop you with a belt. And I don't like doing that to kids or whatever. But he told me the very first time that his dad ever abused him was his dad beat him with a belt. Were you getting sexually abused too? And did that happen whenever you said something about it? No. My dad called me, I went outside, I was talking to my dad, and then he came outside and he was like, why are you talking to your dad? And my dad had called the cops. And so I was just gonna get the kids and leave, and but my car wasn't starting, my battery was fucked up, so I had to wait for the cops to get there. I'm gonna have to do a part 2. So at this point, I'm getting the kids back in the car. I tried to start my car and it wasn't starting, so we were just sitting waiting for the cops to get there. At this point, my husband didn't know that the cops were coming, and he was screaming at me, yelling, and he was like on the verge of tears. And he was like, oh, was this your plan all along, was to do this? And you've been coaching her to say these things, or my parents have been coaching her to say these things, like, why would we do that? First of all, I would not want that to be true about my own husband. And so I was like, no, that's not what's going on. And then the cops show up, and he was like, oh, you called the fucking cops, and he was pissed off about that. So the cops are talking to me, I'm talking to the cops, I'm telling them, like, I don't know what's going on, like, I don't know why my daughter would be saying these things. I talked to them about it, I was crying, and so I told them, like, because they said that they were called because of a domestic dispute, And I was like, no, we weren't really arguing, but this is what's going on. And I was trying to leave, but my car won't start. And they were like, oh, well, I don't have cables. I have cables. You know, if you guys want to jump my car, that'd be great. They talked to me some more, and then they go and talk to him. And I don't know what he said to them, but I ended up getting my car started, and I left. And after that, I get a call from DCFS, and I talk to them about it. And then later on, sometime the week that I left, it was like the next week, the caseworker came and she talked to me and my daughter, and she told me, I don't know why you didn't see about this sooner, because that's an immediate red flag to me about the imaginary friend thing. And like, at first it was innocent, like it was completely normal, I think, to have imaginary friends. I don't know why she was like judging me, I guess, for not doing anything sooner. Because like I feel like that's a completely normal thing for kids to have imaginary friends. Not the one boy imaginary friend that she had that she would talk about, but the other ones were nice. They weren't ever mean to her or anything. And then it was a week after I left. So I left on a Friday, and on the Friday after that, so it was September 19th, my husband texted me and he was like, do you want a divorce? And he had been texting me like that whole week, throughout the week, trying to talk to me and trying to, you know, figure out what's going on, asking me when he was going to see the kids again, when he was going to see me again. And I wouldn't really play along with it or anything, usually, because I had left him before, and like I would text him and talk to him and things like that. And this time I wasn't, you know, giving in and letting him gaslight me, pretty much. So he already knew that he was losing control of me. And the day that he committed suicide, he had texted me asking if I wanted a divorce. I said yes, and that was the last thing I heard from him. And then later on, his brother texted me, and he was like, hey, where's Kenny, or where's my brother at? And I told him, I was like, he's at the house. Why, what's going on? And he told him, he was like, or he told me that he just got off the phone with him, and he was saying that he was going to commit suicide. And so I called the sheriff over there, and I was like, hey, my brother-in-law just called me and told me what was going on, and I think he's going to commit suicide. And they were like, okay, are there any weapons in the house? Yes, he had a lot of guns. And so they didn't go over there right away because they didn't want there to be like a shootout, I guess. So they went over there later on, and they confirmed that there was somebody dead in the house. And so they ended up getting in there, and my dogs were in the house whenever he did it, so they were on edge, like they were completely traumatized. But I had found out, because I called the DCFS worker after I got confirmation that he was dead. And I told her what happened, and she said, wow, okay, so I need to call the DCFS worker in Kansas, because they just scheduled a meeting for her to go over there the following Monday. Which, that is why he did it, because he didn't think it was going to go away, and he was afraid of the repercussions of it. Which, I mean, I hate that it turned out to be this way, but I was very relieved to hear that he took his own life, because I was afraid that he would be able to get unsupervised visitation rights, and the abuse would continue to happen. So yeah, that's what happened. I do miss him. I am upset about it, but I don't miss him as much as I would have if I didn't know what was going on. And I'm not as upset about him dying as I would have been if I didn't know what was going on. So it's all very unfortunate. My daughter's very confused. She blames herself for his death, and she talks about him a lot. She says she misses him a lot. So yeah, but she used to deny that it happened and say that it was still a lie. But recently she said that, and I didn't tell her exactly how he died or what happened because I don't think she can handle it. She's only 4. And so I just told her that he hurt himself really badly and he ended up dying. And so, but recently she said, oh, my papa killed himself because he was afraid of going to jail because of what he did to me. And I think that I'm glad that she's not denying that it happened anymore, and I hate this for her, but I don't know. I had talked to a child psychologist, and they told me that, because I didn't know how to bring it up to her about her father passing away, and so I asked them, like, how should I go about that? And they told me to basically let her ask you questions, let her come to you about it, and whenever she asks you questions about it, be honest with her, don't lie to her. So whenever I told her about it, obviously she was upset, she blamed herself. She said, oh, I shouldn't have said those things, and he would still be alive. So, yeah. And she was mad at me because I waited to tell her that he was dead, and she said that I should have told her when it happened, but I told her, I was like, I didn't know how to tell you, I didn't know how to go about it. But yeah, and she was having nightmares for a little bit. She was grinding her teeth really, really bad, to the point where I would wake her up because I thought she was gonna like break her teeth. But now she's not having nightmares, and she's not grinding her teeth extremely bad. Like, she only does it like maybe once or twice throughout the night. Usually, like, it used to be all throughout the night. The entire time she was sleeping, she'd be grinding her teeth, and it was just super loud. But it's gone down quite a bit. She's gotten better about certain things. She doesn't talk about her imaginary friend anymore. That was a problem. She doesn't talk about any of her imaginary friends, really. I think that was just a coping mechanism. So yeah, that's everything that I can think of right now.
Hey guys, since you guys really liked my last video, I decided to do another one. Get ready with me while I talk about how my relationship went. So something that I think kept me very, like, in this relationship is that I wasn't allowed to talk to anyone else about it. Like, he would go through my phone every day, and so I just, like, got really nervous to tell anyone about it because if he, like, saw that I had told someone about what was going on, he'd be really mad at me. Sorry, I needed to fix my clips. They were, like, holding nothing. It got to a point where I would, like, talk to ChatGPT because I needed, like, I know ChatGPT is, like, super biased, but, like, I needed advice on, like, how to respond sometimes. Also, I put a lip stain on. That's why my lips are, like, black. So one time I was at my friend's house. I had begged him to let me go to my friend's house, and he finally did. He finally let me go. And while I was at my friend's houses, I was never allowed to, like, leave the house. So, like, if my friends wanted to get dinner or get, like, a treat or whatever, I had to stay at the house while they went out. So one time I was at the house and they were like, we want to go get ice cream, like, ask him if you can just, like, come get ice cream with us. And I was like, okay, what's the harm in asking? So I asked him. He said no, obviously. It was just, like, a boundary for him to, like, stay at the house. So I listened and I stayed. So my friends left to go get ice cream, and after they had left, he texted me and was like, show me who's there. And I had to record the room, as one does when they have a boyfriend like this. So I recorded the room, and he made me go behind the couches and everything and, like, show that there was absolutely nobody there, right? Then he was like, oh, your friends, they actually left? to like go get ice cream. And I was like, yeah, that's why I asked you if I could go. He was like, oh, well, obviously they don't care about you. If they know you can't go and they're still going, they obviously don't care about you. They're not good people. So then I'm sitting alone at my friend's house and I get a text from him. And he's like, I'm coming to pick you up. And if I get there and you're not in my car in the next 30 minutes, we're done. So obviously, as someone who was in love, head over heels, I was freaking out. I'm calling my friends, crying. I'm like, he's coming to get me. He's coming to get me. He says, if I don't get in the car, like, we're done. I'm scared. Like, I don't want to lose him. I know. But, so he did end up coming, and I did end up getting in the car with him, which my friends were super mad at me for. I feel terrible about it. If I had the self-respect that I do now, I would have never let him tell me I can't leave and then be mad when my friends leave and then give me an ultimatum, you know? I know I'm dumb. Don't come at me. Like, I know. Trust me, I know. So another time I was at the same friend's house, right? And boyfriends were allowed to come over. So like my friend's boyfriend was there and then my other friend's boyfriend was there. And even though he hated my friends, we actually ended up having a really good time that night. Like, he was cracking jokes, everyone was like talking to each other. It was a great night. But the guys had to leave at 12, and by the time 12 rolled around, he was like, I don't feel good. Like, if you don't leave with me, like, obviously you don't care about me because I'm sitting here telling you I don't feel good and you don't care. It was another ultimatum situation where if I didn't leave with him, we were done. So I pulled my friend in the other room and my other friend started coming in and I was like crying to them. I was like, I don't want to leave, but I'm not ready to lose him. You guys won't get it until you're in a relationship like this. So I end up leaving with him again. So flash forward to this year, it's Halloween. We have our couple's costume planned. We did some really cute, like, ideas, you know. I had a good feeling. I was going home. I live somewhere different than I used to live. And for Halloween, I was gonna go home and, like, see my friends, see him, just, like, you know, go back to my roots. And my friend goes to a college super close to my hometown, so I was like, okay, we'll just go hang out there, you know. No, we weren't. He said I could not go see my friends because they were staying at this college town and me going there was against one of his boundaries. I was asking him, like, just to make things easier, like, because I was riding home with one of my friends that I was gonna, like, be seeing while I was down there, so I was like, can I just spend the night at the college town first night and then I'll just come with you the rest of the time? He almost broke up with me because I suggested that. We fought the whole day. And then I gave in and I said, okay, fine, you can come get me from there. I told him to pick me up at 10 and he came at 9. So when he got there, I was really frustrated and, like, I didn't have a lot of excitement. Like, I was probably not good on my part, but I just was really frustrated because I wanted to have a little bit more time with my friends. So he got really mad at me and was like, you don't even act like you love me, like, you don't even act like you want to see me, like, whatever. So he made me go sit in his car with him so we could talk about it, and he was like, I should break up with you, actually, because I don't want a girlfriend who doesn't act excited to come, like, see me or whatever. So we spent the only day I got to see my friends fighting in his car, and then we left. Went back to his house. I know I look crazy. I'm gonna blend. He also thought that, like, every guy had a crush on me, including my friends' boyfriends. And so, like, the only time I could get a break from, like, college and come and see my friends would be on holidays, and obviously their boyfriends are going to be there too because everyone has a break. And he let me know that I was not allowed to hang out with my friends if their boyfriends were going to be there. So I just kind of got the impression that if I was going to be in this relationship, I would literally never get to see my friends. And also, I'm just going to preface, like, if you're going to comment on this video and be like, oh my god, you're so dumb, I'm just going to, like, block you because I know it's frustrating to hear stuff like this. Like, when you hear a girl being controlled by a man, I know it's frustrating and I know you think you're doing the right thing. Like, you're coming on here saying, like, I should have known better, whatever, but it doesn't help. And it's something you're never going to understand unless you truly are in this situation. If any of you guys are going through something, I look crazy, ignore. But if any of you guys are going through something similar to what I have been through, I am so here for you. Just because he's not physical doesn't mean it's not abuse. Like, for real, I know that sounds extreme, but I'm serious. I'm here for all of you. I'm here to listen. I won't judge because I can't. But I just want to let you guys know I am 10 times happier than I have ever been, and leaving him was a great decision. Okay, I'm done with my makeup and my story. Bye!
So this is one of those trigger warning type of videos. If you can't deal with blood, gore, rape, and incest, then I'm going to go ahead and need you to keep on scrolling, because this one is definitely going to be a doozy. Alright, my name is Sherlock Homegirl. I'm East Texas's very first African-American female to own and operate an investigation firm. And I get a lot of people that ask me what inspired me to be a private investigator. Well, this case that I'm about to talk about really takes the cake. It's kind of heartbreaking to talk about because I actually knew the victims. I had met them the night before they actually got murdered. And it's how they got murdered and who murdered them that sticks with me. And till this day, they haven't released what happened to them, but I'm going to tell you because I want to bring awareness to their case and also bring awareness to mental health issues if you see it in someone. Okay, so we're going to go back in time till, I think it was like October 2019 in Kilgore. And my Uncle ST, that's what I'm going to call him because I'm not going to say any names. But my Uncle ST was having like a little barbecue at his house. And it was me, his wife, my brother's wife, my sister, and like all of our kids. And honestly, I still have videos from that night. I will not be using the real names of the victims in the story. I will be using a different name to protect their identity because, like I said in the beginning of the video, the family never let anybody know what happened. I'm telling you what happened because I was there. So I actually had came back to the apartment the next morning because my Uncle ST wife, you know, called all of us to tell us what was going on. And she didn't tell us like over the phone. She said that we need to get our asses over to the apartment because there was some stuff going on. And at first I didn't know what was going on. So I made it to the apartment. There was tape everywhere. And that's whenever she started telling the story of what happened. So keep in mind, as she's telling us what's going on and what she saw, they are wheeling out bodies from the apartment, as well as big bags full of evidence. And it was something that I've never experienced before. And you'll understand why. Well, let me go ahead and get into the story. So it was the night before their bodies were found. I was hanging out with Miss Latoya, that's one of the sisters, and Miss Belinda, that's the other sister. And I believe Miss Belinda's oldest son or one of her sons just had got out of like jail or something, and he lived with them, and they were, you know, just giving him a place to stay while he was trying to get on his feet, I believe. But anywho, my Uncle ST was having a barbecue at his house like we normally do. And he invited Miss Latoya and Miss Belinda over to the house. And it was me, my Uncle ST's wife, and my brother's wife at the time. And we had all our kids over. You know what I'm saying? They all go in the house. All the adults are outside barbecuing, having a good time. Miss Belinda, Miss Latoya was throwing them things back, just having a good time. And it was my first time ever meeting these ladies. And I do have videos in my phone on my Snapchat of Miss Belinda throwing the thing. She was definitely the life of every party that she went to. I can definitely tell. However, this would be the last night that they were partying and having a good time because the next morning they would be discovered. So like I said, we're having a good time the night before. And the next morning, my Uncle ST's wife was supposed to go to church, I believe, or go somewhere with Latoya and Belinda. She called and called and called. Nobody answered. And they only stayed like an apartment over. So she went to the house. And she was supposed to go there, I believe, early that morning, but she didn't. Something in her spirit told her not to go. So she went over to the house that evening, and she knocked on the door. Nobody answered. So the door was open a little bit, and she thought that was a little bit weird because y'all always leave y'all door closed. Yeah, this is Kilgore, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, this is not the place. So anyway, she went inside. She didn't see anybody in the living room. She kept walking, and she got to the bedroom, and that's where she seen Mrs. Latoya's legs hanging from up under the bed. And she said that she thought that maybe she got stuck. She called out her name several times and thought she clearly seen something was wrong. So as my Uncle ST's wife goes to go check on Miss Latoya under the bed, she pulls her legs, and the very bottom half of her body comes out from under the bed, with the top half remaining under the bed. So that really startled her, and she was gonna get ready to run out. But something hit in her mind, like, wait, if Miss Latoya is like this, where the hell is Miss Belinda? So she started opening room doors because, you know, they about 60-something years old. They in their late 60s. And my God, when she opened up the bathroom door, it was bad. It was a lot of blood, she said. Miss Belinda was stabbed. Like, you can literally see so much of her insides. If I'm not mistaken, her head looked like it was damn near chopped off. And it was difficult for her to see that. And then the next thing was like, you know, where's her son at? Is her son okay? Like, what is going on? So she ran out the door screaming and yelling. She screamed and yelled, and she got the attention of my brother's wife, because she stayed in the apartments like right next to my Uncle ST and them. So she got everybody's attention. They called the police, and the police came out and indeed did call it a DOA, homicide, double homicide. And now they were like, you know, what happened? Because we were all having a good time the night before. So they don't know what happened. They were looking for the son, which is the nephew of Miss Latoya, but the son of Miss Belinda. And nobody could find him. Nobody knew where he was. And my Uncle ST's wife was like, you know, I was supposed to go over there, you know, last night to bring them something, but something in my spirit told me not to. Something in my spirit told me to go check on them and all this other stuff. It was a lot that I had, you know, in my spirit. I couldn't. So they end up finding the son. And I didn't know that the son had mental health issues, and he didn't get out of prison, and they accidentally let him out of a hospital, a state hospital, too early. He was actually supposed to be there, and he had mental health issues. As it turns out, he was the one who unalived his mother and his aunt, and he sexually assaulted both of them. And it's really hard for me to understand, because they were some really cool women. But their case always stuck with me. If y'all know anybody with mental health issues, that they do seek help, and you be careful, because this is one in many cases where someone had a mental episode and unalived their entire family. And if you have mental health issues and you feel that you want to do something like that, please go check yourself into a hospital, because Miss Latoya and Miss Belinda did not deserve that. And now there's years of traumatic trauma going from generation to generation down the line, because this was a whole family. This was a guy who raped his mother and his aunt after he sawed pieces of their body. Please go seek mental health treatment. And if you know anybody that has mental health issues, please make sure that they get some sort of help.
Well, that's interesting. You know why?
Why?
Because
So this is another trigger warning type of video. If you cannot stand the thought of a body burning and serial killing, I advise you to keep on moving. So if y'all don't know, my name is Leslie, aka Sherlock Homegirl, and I own my own investigation firm in East Texas called Boson Investigations. I'm the very first African-American female to own and operate an investigation firm in the East Texas region. I've been here for about 5 or 6 years, so it's very nice to meet y'all. So today we'll be talking about the case of Brandy Wells. Now, when I first became a private investigator, I used to look up a lot of cases in my spare time because I had the tools and all of the research skills to look up those cases and find evidence. And what if I told you 2 other cases may be linked to Brandy Wells' disappearance? So if you're not familiar with the Brandy Wells case, it was a woman who came down to Longview from Tyler it's called Graham Central Station at the time, but now it's called Electric Cowboy. And I've been there several times. I live in Longview, and I know Electric Cowboy gets down. It's still a good place to go. However, you just have to watch your surroundings. So she went missing from Graham Central Station. They found her car on a highway, and they never found her. I did a little research myself, did a little bit of digging, and if you're from East Texas, you should know about the Lavender Doe case, aka Amanda Dodd. She went missing from the Walmart on 4th Street. They found a body like two or 3 days later, maybe a week later, on fire in the middle of nowhere. They always thought that it was Brandy's body, but it was not Brandy's body. It actually came back to Amanda Dodd. So the guy who did that, his name is Joseph Burnett. I looked up into his background, and I looked at all of his previous addresses at the time. Now, how I connected both of these cases were an address and a map, Google Maps. I looked at where they found Miss Brandy Wells' car, and it hit me. The same exit where this car was found is the same exit Mr. Burnett would have to take home. But they thought he was a suspect. They actually interviewed him, and they let him go. In 2005, they didn't even have a suspect for the Amanda Dodd case. He confessed to the murder in 2018, around the same time whenever he had murdered his girlfriend at the time. If I was the police department, I would definitely go search the property that he lived at. He came to Electric Cowboy looking for prey. He was a predator. Brandy Wells needed help that night. Probably promised to help her. And honestly, I don't know if he did something to her there, but he definitely drove that car back to where it was found at on the highway. I believe it's going to be him. I feel like he might have did something really bad to her, got to where they broke down at. He couldn't make it all the way home. What I understand, there was somebody that got a phone call from the phone number of the cell phone that they found in the car, probably called those people to help him, and they just didn't want to get in trouble, so they lied. And they failed a polygraph test at that. But I honestly think the police department should go search the area of where he was living at the time. And I'm not trying to upset the family in any way, shape, or form. However, as an investigator, it's my job to bring people closure. And where I see that somebody's lacking, I'm definitely going to be looking. It needs a new, fresh pair of eyes to look at it. It's such a coincidence. The description of the man that she left with, tall guy with a cowboy hat. This man is pretty tall, and from the people that know him, he never left the house without his cowboy hat. And I know we live in Texas, but we live in Longview, and I ain't really seen nobody with no dang cowboy hat on around here. And I was born and raised here. I think they should definitely relook at that man. At least relook at him.
I always hear people saying, oh, this was my 13th reason, that was my 13th reason. Okay, stop showing off. Some of us only need one.
Disrespect affected me, my time, and my efforts, and then you wonder why I don't want to be friends with you anymore. Story time about how I have been best friends with a narcissist for the last 10 years, and I don't know what the fuck to do about it, but I've officially, I think, hit my breaking point. I'm gonna try to keep this short because I can ramble on forever. And yes, there's a lot of details that go into this, but I feel like if you get the gist, you will understand. And I just really need to get this like rage out of me. It's my best friend's birthday. His birthday, first of all, was on a Thursday. It's his 28th birthday, like nothing that special. We've been friends for 10 years, whatever. He wanted me to take time off. He wanted me to take Thursday and Friday off of work. I don't have time, but I'm like, okay, I will take it off of work. So there's strike one, right? But I'm like, I will do it. It's fine. I'll miss out on money, whatever. I kind of ask what he wants to do. He gives me a couple little ideas. We decide to go on a little staycation in a city that's like an hour away from us. So I get us a hotel, a nice hotel. First of all, that's around $200. I'm gonna say money because I feel like that's a little bit important. I know it's just money, but it's a little bit important. I find a spot, and I thought that that might be a really fun thing to do because we did it twice on a previous trip and we really enjoyed it, and this was actually pretty affordable. It's like $100 each, but still another $200. And I asked him, do you want to do that? He's like, yeah, I'm so down for that, whatever. So spa, hotel. He wants to go to this crazy fancy restaurant because he's in this era of trying new things, whatever. And it's literally like $80 a person. It's like this kind of all you can eat thing where they come around with all these different meats and whatever. So I'm like, okay. So we get reservations and I pay for it. So of course there's that, there's the tip, there's all that. So it's almost another $200 to do this. So right now we're $600 in. I'm also the one that takes time off. I'm missing 2 days of work and I'm driving, okay? I always drive us everywhere. I'm driving us over an hour away and back and all around the city. The spa, that's actually a pretty good time. We go back to the hotel, we check in, and one of my biggest pet peeves is when people are on their phone when I'm trying to spend time with you, and he knows this. This has been a constant argument that we've been having. Not to like blast him, I mean, I'm not saying names, but he's kind of trying to like get out there more, and he's been on the dating apps, and to each their own, whatever. But I'm not even joking. Long story short, the whole entire time, the biggest issue is that he's just flirting away with these people, making conversations, literally ignoring me the whole entire time when he knows that this is my biggest pet peeve. First of all, I don't want to start an argument because we argue a lot. This has been an ongoing issue for months, okay? We argue a lot and I'm like, it's his birthday, I'm just gonna deal with it, whatever. So we go and I'm like, hey, do you want to go like explore the city? We can go over here. They have like an art installation on the waterfront, blah blah blah. He's been complaining to me that I'm too boring and I don't like to do anything new, and I just stay at home and I never go along with things. And so I'm trying to branch out and like have us do things, and he's like, no, I don't really want to do that, like it's the city and that's not safe and blah blah blah, whatever. I'm like, okay, fine. So we stay in the hotel, and I'm not even joking, he's sitting in the chair in the corner just like at this point I'm already fuming. So we go to dinner. Dinner is okay, but I am a picky eater and he knows that, and he's kind of a picky eater too, and I'm not loving everything. I'm trying it, I'm being super open, but I, you know, and he kind of asked me like throughout dinner, he's like, well, what do you think? I'm like, yeah, it's okay, like I don't mind it. But he knows like I'm not really vibing with it, but it's fine, I'm not complaining. He's like, oh my god, you literally never like to try anything new. You are just like, you're so boring and you're just making this whole thing over nothing. And I'm like, I am literally paying for us to eat, and I'm here, I'm eating, literally not even complaining. You asked me how I like it. I'm not gonna be like, oh my god, this is the most delicious thing ever, when you're sitting there too saying like, oh, I didn't really love that, but I like this. Like, anyways, this is another issue, is like the little snarky comments all the time. So then we go back to the hotel and it's a little bit late, and I specifically booked this hotel because it had a rooftop bar and there's like a fire pit, and it seemed like a cool vibe. And like I said before, he's been wanting to go out and like do new things, and he's been going to the bars, whatever, and meeting people and whatever. So I'm like, hey, our reservation, actually we get 2 free drinks, like let's go up to the rooftop bar and like see how it is. And he's like, that it's not gonna be a vibe, like that doesn't sound good. And I'm like, well, like let's just try it out. Okay, so we go up there, and there's not a lot of people. It's a Thursday night, it's a hotel bar, like there's not a lot of people, but there's some. He's like, oh my god, I hate this vibe, this is terrible, blah blah blah. I'm like, well, let's just get a drink, like it's literally, it's supposed to be free, like let's just get it. And I don't go out, I don't go to bars. I have severe anxiety. I wish I could like explain my whole life to you, but like I have severe anxiety. But I am like, I'm just trying because this is what he's been saying he wants, okay? And so I'm like, should we go up to the bar, like should we go up to the bar to get a drink, like should we go to the rooftop where the fire pit is? Like I don't really know. He's like, I don't know, you figure it out, like why are you making things so difficult? And I'm like, I don't know. Meanwhile, he's been going to the bars with different people for like every single weekend for like 3 months now. And I'm like, okay. So I like walk up to the bar, and the guy's like, oh, did you want a drink, like da 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 da? And I was like, oh yeah. I was like, should we sit? And he's like, I don't know, dude, should we sit or just grab the drink? I'm like, I don't know. He's like, make up your damn mind. I'm like, okay. So we sit there, and he's like, you always make things so difficult. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm trying not to lose my mind. So we get the drinks, and then we're like chatting for a second, and I'm like, let's go out to the like rooftop area. He's like, well, there's people over there. Well, no shit, like it's a bar. It's not that you wanted to see what the vibe was, you're complaining that there's not a lot of people in there and the vibe's not like vibing. I'm like, well yeah, but like we can go to this little like couch area and like sit there and overlook the city, it'd be kind of cool. And he's like, ugh, whatever. So we go there, and then guess what, he's like and I about lose it. I'm like, are you just gonna sit there and chat with people? He's like, you don't even understand, this is a new city, you know I'm trying to get out there. I don't know why you're mad, it's my birthday, I can do whatever the fuck I want. And I'm like, okay. I'm still trying to not have a huge argument. And so I'm like, okay, I guess I'll just like enjoy my own company. And so like we kind of finished the drink, and he's complaining again, like this is a terrible vibe, like this is so boring, blah 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 blah. So then I'm like okay, so we have one drink. I'm like, do you want another? He's like, not really. I'm like, okay. So we go back up to the hotel, and I'm like, do you want to do anything? Do you want to watch a movie? Like, any ideas? And he's like, no, I don't really want to. I was like, well, there are a couple bars around here. Like, I specifically got one in this city to try to like explore and be out there and not be boring, okay? And I'm like, we can go like try out this bar, like try out that. And he's like, no, it's the city at night, like that's not safe. And I'm like, it's fine, like you've been doing this. You've been going to random bars with random people that you don't even know, and you don't even want to walk around the city with your best friend of 10 years to try to find something new to do. I'm like, what is wrong with you? And he's like, well, it wouldn't even be fun because the whole point is that it's with you. You know that I don't want to hang out with you. You're the whole problem. And I'm like, okay. Well, it's like, do you want to just go to bed then? And he's like, yeah, let's just hang out and like go to bed, and then tomorrow we can do something. I'm like, okay, so it's like 10 o'clock. It's not even crazy or anything. And so I'm kind of on my phone, and he's just sitting there the whole entire time, flirting and texting and doing whatever. And I'm just like, this is not fun. I feel like you already get the gist, but I'm telling the whole story. So the next day, he wants to go to this specific bookstore. And so I'm like, do you want to go to the bookstore? Because it's like a giant bookstore. And he's like, I guess. I'm like, you literally said that was like the one thing you wanted to do. And he's like, yeah, I know. I'm like, so you don't want to go now? And he's like, no, let's go. I'm like, okay. So finally we go to the bookstore, we're having an okay time, but he still is making these snarky little comments. Like, there's one section of the bookstore I want to look at, which is like mystery thriller, and I'm like over there, and I guess I'm over there too long. And he's like, we only have 2 hours in our parking spot, and like, can we go look at other stuff, like like all this stuff? And I'm like, okay. And he's like, you're probably not even gonna buy any books anyways because you're too broke. He always tells me I'm too broke, and we both do struggle with money. But meanwhile, I have spent almost $700 on your birthday, and you didn't complain about that. You didn't complain about that at all. And I'm like, oh my god, okay, whatever. So then we finally go and we're browsing around and looking at all the books he wants to look at. I'm fine, you know, I'm just like doing whatever he wants me to do. It's just another thing of me being thoughtful. He's never been to like an actual Krispy Kreme and he really likes donuts, and I'm like, hey, there's a Krispy Kreme here, like let's go and get like fresh donuts. And he's like, oh, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, it would be fun. So that's not complaining, that's just like me being thoughtful again, right? Okay, so we go over there, and it's also like driving out of the way. We go over there and then we get the donuts, that's fine. He did make a complaint that I was like taking too long to decide. We decide to go over to the Cheesecake Factory because we both like it and that's where we want to go for lunch. So we go there, having a fine time, whatever, long story short, that's fine. And in the midst of dinner, he's like, hey, do you want to go to this, do you want to go to Kohl's? I want to find a new jacket. And he's talking about the one in our city. And I'm like, well, we're literally at a mall. Like, do you want to go to Macy's or JCPenney's? Like, we don't go here that often. And he's like, well, I don't want to just like have to be around while you're looking at a bunch of stuff and like waiting on you. I didn't even say that I wanted to look at anything. I was literally suggesting you. And so I'm like, I don't need to look at anything. I was like, but I'm annoyed. I'm like, I mean, if we're going in there, why can't I look? You know what I mean? And it's like, I had no agenda. Like, we didn't really have an agenda. We're kind of eating a little bit. And I was like, could we please just really quickly go to American Eagle? Because I kind of want to find a new pair of jeans. And he's like, I don't want to sit there while you're trying a bunch of stuff and like, da-da-da-da-da. It's my birthday. We're going to do what I want. And I'm just like, oh my God, I'm about to lose it. And so I shut up and I was like, whatever. I'm at my breaking point. I am just like, I am so fucking over this. If I could tell you my whole life story, I would. We've been arguing for months and months and months. So this is nothing new, but I'm just like really over it. He decides he wants to go to Macy's and JCPenney's. We go in there. This is where I did lose it. I'm walking around, helping him find a jacket, doing all this stuff. He's tossing me things. He's tossing me his other jacket to hold. He's tossing me hangers. He's doing all this. And I'm just like, oh my God. Then, this sounds so stupid, but I'm holding a shirt that he wants to get, and then I'm holding his jacket. And he's like, okay, he tries this other jacket on. He's like, I don't like it. And then, hold on 1 second. Like, and so I'm like, wait, hold on just a second. Well, of course, he's like grabbing it weird and it falls. He's like, oh my God, you can't even fucking hold things right. You literally can't even fucking do anything right. I am like, you have disrespect. I mean, this is what I said in my head, but I'm like, you have disrespected me all weekend. You have disrespected my time. You do not give a shit about that I spent so much money. I did all this stuff. I'm missing out on work. I'm doing all this literally for you. And so I'm like, you don't talk to me like that. And I've said this, I've said it, I've done this, I've had this argument over and over and over again. He knows. I'm like, you do not fucking talk to me like that. He's like, oh my God, you're being so dramatic. Are you gonna make this a whole thing now? I'm like, no, you are rude and disrespectful and I'm fucking tired of it. Like, let's find a jacket and let's go home. And he's like, oh, now you're gonna be like that. And I'm like, yes, I am, because I'm being disrespected. I'm so over it. And so I have a bad mood. And then he decides, oh, actually, I want to go to this store. Oh, maybe we can go here. Maybe we can go there. And then he does get like a tiny bit of a heart. He's like, I feel bad. Did you want to go to American Eagle to look for jeans? And I go, you know, I actually decided that maybe I should save some money because I've spent too much money this weekend. And he's like, oh, now you're going to make it about money? I'm like, well, you make it about money. You always complain that I'm broke and that you're broke and that I spend money on things I shouldn't get. So I am saying that I don't want to spend money. And he's like, oh my God, you always turn this into a huge thing. Blah, 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 blah. After that, he's like, yeah, it turned into a whole thing. And then he's like, I was like, yeah, I wasn't really expecting to spend this much money this weekend. I spent about $700. And he's like, yeah, that is true. All of a sudden gets a heart, and like we're in the middle of fucking H&M, and he's like, I do want you to know that I do appreciate everything you do for me. He's like putting his hand on my back, and I'm like, I'm almost in tears. I'm like, yeah, you know, I do a lot for you, and you haven't appreciated it at all. And he's like, yeah, I feel like I've kind of been ignoring you. I'm like, yeah, that's it. Just continues to shop, and then we're like, whatever. So then we get back in the car, we're going home. And then he's like, we need to get home because I'm going out tonight. I'm like, you are? You're going? And he's like, yeah, I am going out tonight. He's like, I'm going to actually go do something I wanted to do. So then I'm crying in the car. It's an hour drive, and I'm almost crying in the whole entire
far away, and he's like not even phased. He's just sitting there on his phone talking to people, making plans, doing whatever. That is Who the Fuck Did I Marry But Who Am I Best Friends With part 1, I guess. So fun fact, he is my roommate. So I'm actually currently on my way home, and I have to deal with living with him. And this is what I've been struggling with, because if I could fucking move, I would not be in this environment anymore. This was my breaking point. This was my, like, I have tried to fix this for at least a year now, of having conversations and about how he's disrespectful, and I just can't take the disrespect anymore. So yeah, if you stayed for that really long story, thank you for staying for that long story. Honestly, I don't even know if I'm gonna post this. This just felt really therapeutic to just get it out there, but yeah, don't be friends with a narcissist.